Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is officially June 24th, and we are so excited because we got an opportunity to read yet another great book, Master of One by Jordan Raynor. And I can't believe that we are 6 months.
Yep, halfway through the year.
Halfway through the year, we got 6 months to go, and if you can think about all the stuff that has happened already and what we have to look forward to, this is going to be, it's been an interesting year. And I think it's the perfect time to read a book like this because one of the things when we talked about last month, even getting into this book, is find and focus on the work you were created to do. And while we were in quarantine and dealing with COVID-19 and now obviously all the things that are going on in our world, just around racism, and there's a lot going on. And so I think really being able to focus on what is that one thing and where are we going with this. So I know, Taj, you read it, and both of us did, and got a lot of good information. So how about you kick it off?
Okay.
And then I'll take the tail end.
Sounds good. All right, so I'm just going to kind of cover, I liked, like you mentioned, it was a really good book. What drew both of us to it was just the tagline, finding focus on the work that we were created to do. So the first chapter of the book is the one that I'm going to kind of hit on. Chapter 1 is excellence in all things. And I think it's just a really good reminder, especially as Christians, that as Christians, God's called us to be excellent in all things, not just in our chosen vocations. I think sometimes people put all of their focus on, oh, okay, well, I'm a basketball player. I have to be good just at basketball. No, God's created you to be excellent in all the things that you do. So I really enjoyed that. And then just kind of like the whole reminder of essentialism and kind of stripping down, and instead of feeling like you've got to be all things to everybody, just kind of figuring out what is most important to you and then working towards mastering and focusing on those few things.
So let me just ask you this real quick. So going back to what you just said, the excellence part, and like when I'm a basketball player, I got to be excellent in just this one thing. But he kind of talked a little bit about, you don't want to be mediocre in a whole bunch of things.
Exactly.
So being able to kind of lock in and tune into, maybe it is you're excellent in multiple things throughout your career and throughout, just that you get from one step to the next step. But where do you feel like that kind of fits into your own personal life?
I mean, I think as I've gotten older, I've kind of learned to take a step back, and not try and do everything, because there's just no way that you can do everything well. And then you end up doing a lot of things mediocre if you put too many things on your plate. So, as I've gotten older, I think especially becoming a mom has really kind of helped me to shift gears and focus on that is the most important job that God has tasked me with, above any and everything else, and keeping that kind of at the center of everything, and then everything else just kind of falls into place from that.
Yeah, I could see that. I see that in you. All right. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, but I like to, like, he just kind of talks about lies that we're told, and some of these lies aren't necessarily bad lies, but they're just, he kind of breaks down a few of them. The first one, you can be anything you want to be.
You think that's a lie?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I like the analogy he uses early on about a guy that loves basketball, and he, oh my goodness, my dream would be to play in the NBA. However, I know that's not going to happen for me. But still finding ways to enjoy the sport of basketball, but figure out what his thing is and put all of his energy into that. So, yeah, I really liked that. And then lie number 2, you can do everything you want to do. That was a big one that made me think about you, especially.
I can't do everything I want to do.
Well,
who said you
but
can't?
Just like you were saying, if you if you have too many things on your plate, everything's going to be mediocre. You can't give 100% to 100 things. So that was a good one. And then the last lie is that your happiness is the primary purpose of work.
And how many times have you heard people, you kind of talked about this, and I'm guilty of it as well, because I tell people, find your passion and do what you're passionate about. And sometimes people confuse passion with happiness. And it's like, all right, you get that job and you're happy for a little bit, but then what happens if now all of a sudden I'm not happy anymore. So you find people bouncing around from job to job. So, yeah.
Yeah, my big takeaway with that one was just that lie itself is not true, because our whole purpose, our whole existence should center around helping and serving other people and living out God's will for our lives, in the work that we do. So that kind of gives you a different perspective too. Even as I've started reading this, I've kind of felt myself, trying to think of the word, but just kind of convicted. I found myself convicted because it's like, you get up complaining, oh, it's Monday, I don't want to do, and it's like, okay, I'm here to serve, I'm created in the image of God. We're supposed to be focusing on helping and serving others. And I think when you shift and you kind of have that perspective, it changes things. So so those were my big takeaways from this first chapter. So just being specific. Being specific about our God-given purpose, and then truly focusing on being the very, very best that we can be at those things. So, and another point I'm going to make with this chapter is just, I thought it was interesting that he went against the grain of, I think, and it's a lie he doesn't mention, but I think that growing up, you hear all the time, oh, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. Yeah, and it's like, to an extent, but when you do that, then you are ending up being mediocre at a lot of different things instead of truly honing and working on your craft and
so
being able to serve more.
Do you think, and this might get off topic a little bit, but do you think that it's not possible to do multiple things and be great at them?
I don't think that that's necessarily the case. And I think it depends on who you're talking about. I think that he's probably talking more, from experience. He goes on to kind of share. He's had a lot of success in a lot of different things. So he's not saying like you can't have a lot of success in a lot of different things, but I think that he's found greater satisfaction, greater purpose, and kind of honing in on what is it that God truly called me to do, and pouring more into that. And even like if you look at us, in reading this, I feel like, okay, well, the foundation, we're able to help and serve. And through that, there's not one program, there's not one thing. It's a lot of things, but our mission and our goal is aligned with community, helping, improving, giving back, lifting up, teaching, mentoring. All of those things kind of fall.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Do you have another point? Or
Nope.
Okay. So I would say, you started at the beginning of the beginning of the book, and I'm gonna fast forward to chapter 8, and so you kind of go through the excellent part, and then you go through trying to fine tune and figure out what is the one thing or two things. What is your purpose, basically, and what you just said, serving others, right? So mine was looking at some of the different things he talked about in chapter 8 about mastering. So go through that. Now, how do you master your one thing? And I like what he wrote in the beginning. Lots of people want to be the noun without doing the verb, by Austin Kleon. And a lot of people want to be the master, but they don't actually want to do the work on what it takes to master your skill set. So he goes through and talked about different keys. One of them is apprenticeship, which when you think about apprenticeship, obviously, finding a craft or a job and being able to follow somebody. But the one that I really, really liked is the second one, purposeful practice. And in the purposeful practice, he talked about the 10,000 hour rule. Now I apply that to basketball because I just think about all the hours and talk to a lot of kids. Oh my gosh, how often were you in the gym when you were playing, and what about when you were younger? And that 10,000 hour rule, I definitely exceeded 10,000 hours, but that the number for being able to master something. And so thinking about, all right, if you're going to be excellent at a multiple job and multiple things, how do you get 10,000 hours in every single thing that you do? So for me, it kind of has made me sit back, and you use the word conviction. I really have The WNBA going to a single site, and we're all going to be gone down there. And, for me, it's going to be a time, too, to be able to reflect. And, you can't go anywhere. So, to be able to sit down and kind of like COVID-19, when I feel like for both of us, we really stepped back, like sat down and sat back and said, okay, are we where we want to be? As far as the foundation, as far as TEA, as far as, the fever, as far as everything that we have going on. Is that what you want? So, purposeful practice and really looking at specific goals, intense focus, rapid feedback, and frequent discomfort. And I've really been on telling a lot of people you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so I kind of go to that last point of just, getting out of your comfort zone and being willing to, A, try new things, but B, through the not criticism, but through the feedback and through the way that, information is delivered to you, really being able to take that and learn and grow.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was a Bible verse that he quoted in the book. God opposes the proud, but shows favor to the humble. James 4:6. And I think that goes aligned with what you're saying about, just making sure that you're able to just be humbled, and to learn from others. One big thing that he talks about is apprenticeship and mentorship, and being able to, if you're trying to own a tea business, who else has a tea business that's successful, and humbling yourself and saying, not, I know everything, I don't need them, but I want to learn from you.
Yes.
I respect what you've been able to do. How? Teach me.
Yeah.
Teach me.
In every aspect. So, great. Did you enjoy the book?
I did. It was a lot to digest. I feel like it's one that I'm going to have to go back and probably
We've said that multiple times, but a lot of the books that we read, I'm going to have to go back. But this is one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because, and even, we skipped over a lot, but I like how even kind of midway through the book, he asks a lot of really good questions to help you kind of pinpoint maybe what your purpose is, and some of the things that you the gifts and talents that God gave you. And
Tasha put together a full journal. You can actually go to the website. Yeah,
you can download this.
Print and download. She just the creative one. I'm the one that takes my book and I write all throughout my book, but she has all her notes. So this is a book that I feel like you'll go through this year. And even if we went through, we're 6 months in, even if we circle back and did this at the end of the year, some of our answers would be totally different, just based on being able to grow every single month, and especially this year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So, Master of One by Jordan Raynor. If you have not read it, go and grab the book. It is phenomenal. It is one that you need to have on your bookshelf, and you need to go back and back over and over, and just, you got to keep reading it. So now, as we transition to the month of July, Taja picked the book of July, and what did you pick for us?
So I picked, I picked Where the Crawdads Sing, and I think we just need to kind of shift gears. I think every book that we have done thus far in the year has been more so self-improvement. Let's fix this, let's fix that. This is just a pleasure book.
Oh, pleasure.
Pleasure book, pleasure
Makes
reading.
sense.
And I think, I know for us, growing up, reading was a huge part of our lives, and not necessarily to escape anything, but it is an escape, and it's just kind of neat to put yourself in a different, different perspective. Yeah, it's really, really good. I think you'll enjoy this one.
Have you read it already?
I may have. I may have. Another reason I picked
a book. Man, look at the difference between these two books.
But this is
this is a pleasure book.
It's a pleasure book. It's a very good story, just about survival and relationships, and it's a bestseller. And this is her first novel, which is unbelievable.
More than 5 million copies sold.
Yeah,
Delia Owens.
Delia or
Delia.
Delia
Owens. Miss Owens. Thank you very much.
And it's got a little mystery in it too. It's good. It's good. I'm excited to talk about this book next month.
Well, there you have it. Master of One to Where the Crawdads Sing, and this is going to be amazing because Taja picked it, of course. We might not be doing a pleasure book in August, so you might want to enjoy this. Just kidding. We'll see. But thank you guys for joining in, and we will look forward to seeing you. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We are going to visit you every month. And yeah, we'll see you on the 24th, the best day of the month.
Have a
Have a
great
good one. Have a good month. Happy reading.